Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Joe Emilio Show. I hope you guys are doing splendid this Friday evening. I got a lot to get through, so I'm just gonna put my tinfoil hat on. Okay. Hello, Tammy. Thank you for joining. So, if you like tinfoil hat theories, ladies and gentlemen, boy, do I have a doozy for you. I think the best way to start here is earlier today, if you haven't followed me yet on Twitter, please do so. Link to this thread is in the description. I put out quite a big thread this today, and I had just been thinking a lot, and I wanted to put it on paper, and I want to see, I want this to exist on Twitter, and I want to see what in the future that of my predictions came true. Now, you'll see there I said, look, this is a tinfoil hat theory. If you enjoy these, let's go on this adventure together. And I don't trust the ANC, so I'm questioning everything. And I wanted to start from when NDZ banned cigarettes. To me, that's a very important part. Why? Well, there's a number of reasons, all right? We know that she rubs shoulders with Mazzotti, who is a self-confessed smuggler, fraudster, and money launderer. Okay, he's confessed this. Okay, and there's some links to all these things as well. And yes, he's denied the allegations. Of course, he's denied the allegations. Of course, when the cigarette was banned, and they asked him, like, "Are you behind it? Are you persuading the ANC to ban cigarettes?" He's like, "No, I have nothing to do with it. It's hurting my business." Blah 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 blah. So obviously, he denied it, right? But interesting article here, which is this one and it was from Jack Poe or Pow or Poe. I'm not sure how to pronounce his Jock Poe, investigative journalist, right? And he said some pretty important things I feel that we cannot ignore. For example, he said we have to look at the politics. We all know in which camp NDZ is. There is a nexus between her, Ace Magashule, and the EFF. Why did NDZ and the Command Council do it? Because they haven't given us any good reason yet, and until today they haven't. Yes, the ban on cigarettes, that ruling has been overturned. It has been, she went for an appeal, and it was granted. So that also, sparked a lot of controversy, a lot of questions. Why is this happening? And now you got to ask yourself, how much money did the ANC make? And again, this is allegedly make with the cigarette ban. I mean, come on, we can't be that stupid, like we can't prove it. Jock Poe can't prove it, but he's pretty certain that the ANC had something to do and was benefiting from that cigarette ban. And it's, again, all allegedly. But it is known that Mazzotti has funded the EFF. This is not rumors. This is not speculation. As a matter of fact, the EFF spokesperson came out and said that he had donated 200,000 Rand towards registering the party in 2014, which of course now paints an interesting picture when you see Mazzotti with Juju and you see Mazzotti with NDZ rubbing shoulders with these people. Makes things very interesting. Now, I'm mentioning this because we have to remember that time, because like I said, allegedly the ANC could have made billions and billions and billions of Rand during that time period. And you have to wonder, yes, probably it was split with their cadres and a lot of people benefited and budgeted, but I'm pretty sure a large amount of it was just in case they needed to do a propaganda campaign or they needed to do some kind of country destabilization. So yeah, that's where my theory kind of begins. Now, with that in mind, we fast forward through the lockdown. Everybody's upset, everybody's angry. We've lost loved ones, we've lost livelihoods. We're all suffering, we're all on edge, we're all stressed out. And we have two camps in this world right now: those that, or in South Africa, those that will follow and abide by ANC and worship them, and then there's the ones such as myself and other individuals that will try and wake up people and say, hey, don't listen to everything mainstream media tells you, and wake up to what is happening. And it makes people on edge. Meanwhile, the Zondo Commission moves forward to put pressure on to hold appearances and make it look like they are dealing with corruption, and the noose is kind of tightening on Zuma, if you will. But then two important meetings happen. A meeting between Zuma and Bekele, and a meeting with Zuma and Juju. Now, those meetings really, 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 really make me question everything. We don't know. Nobody knows exactly why these meetings happened. But I think that these meetings were not to plan anything. I highly doubt that they sat at those meetings and planned anything. I think alliances were made. That's what I think happened. Certain deals were made, like a conversation like, oh, I'm probably going to go to jail, Becky. Becky says, yeah, you probably are, because I can't really, we have to uphold the law. So Zuma says, okay, well then can you wait until the last possible moment to arrest me? Those kind of conversations would happen. And what if Zuma was having these kind of conversations where he was like, okay, well, what would happen? Like maybe he told Becky, like, that if you arrest me, shit's gonna happen. And Becky was like, yeah, well, maybe we'll deal with it. I don't know. The meeting with Becky, Tele, and Zuma really worries me more than anything else, and I'll get back to that in a moment. So I think that's what the meetings were about. And now questions about Becky Tele for me. Why did he not enforce the law immediately? We've got to ask ourselves this, since in every event that transpired from when the Concourt asked or told or basically requested for Zuma's arrest, Becky Tele was very quiet, slow to move, waited until the final minute to do really anything. He didn't say much, and even during the riots, he wasn't really around. Only recently, in the past 2-3 days, did he really come out and say stuff and start to, be in the scene. And you'll see here, something very interesting is Sky News caught up with him, and they were asking him questions. He refused to answer any of them.
We found the South African police minister, Bekele, doing a walkabout through the rubble, but he didn't want to answer our questions.
Minister, do you have the situation here under control? Do you have the situation here under control? Because it doesn't look like it.
He's happy to answer any questions from ENCA or SABC, not a problem for him. But when it comes to Sky News, he doesn't. And it makes me wonder about the international image that the ANC is trying to uphold. International image for the ANC is very, very, very important. And that's why he didn't say anything, because if he slipped on anything or if he spoke on anything, it would probably not be good for the ANC. So he kept his mouth shut. And we know Becky Tele likes to talk. He does love the cameras. So that was a very interesting point and time for me. And I don't trust Tele at all, okay? Like I say here, it feels like Tele kept the law from Zuma for as long as possible. And I believe leading up, or the week leading up to Zuma's arrest, was the most important week. And this is why. I'm willing to bet that Zuma looked at his son in his son's eyes and asked, "Is it all set?" In a cinematic style way. As soon as the son shed a tear and replied, "I won't fail you, Papa." But of course, this could be my imagination getting the better of me. But I do imagine that it was probably a moment like that. Anyway, he's arrested and all hell breaks loose. His children are seen egging people on. And then I think we all start to have that conversation of state of emergency. Maybe this is what they want. And I did think that for a bit, but I'm starting to think differently. I had a conversation with 3 gentlemen 2 nights ago. I encourage everyone to go watch it. It is linked in the description below. Very interesting conversation. And Mark Oppenheimer made a very good point about state of emergency. And it is this. ANC won't institute state of emergency. They would show weakness, and it would not be good in the eyes of the international interests. So instead, they send the golden boy out to keep up the image as if he is on top of things. Of course, he isn't. And again, that is why we're seeing Cyril on the ground of KZN. That's why we're seeing Cyril tonight. And I'm gonna come back to this. Remember that. Remember the international image that they need to uphold. You'll see hints of it in almost every speech that he does. But now people are starting to call for Cyril to step down. Cyril must resign is trending. It was trending yesterday, which obviously doesn't look good for Cyril. So now what does Cyril do? He thinks of the Sinister 12. Well, the ANC, the current ANC in power, the faction that is in power at the moment, thinks of the Sinister 12. I call them the Sinister 12, where the media releases information about 12 individuals who could be behind the riots and some of the targeted attacks on infrastructure. Now, I do believe there was some planning and strategic decisions being made. However, I find it hard to believe that this was all planned out step by step, months in advance. I find that very hard to believe. I think what happened is, yes, the ANC was warned. There is leaked audio, linked it in that Twitter thing. There is linked audio where the ANC say that they were warned. But we all know how some governments work when they want to use a crisis to their advantage. So I believe that during the course of them doing this whole Zondo Commission and Zuma doing his thing, and they started to hear these warnings from Intel, they were like, let's sit on it. Let's see what happens. All right? This opportunity arose, and they decided to grab a hold of it. That's what I think happened. Okay, that's my opinion. And yeah, I don't think that the ANC is smart enough to 2 years ago, since this whole lockdown began, was smart enough to think, yeah, this is where it's going to lead to. It's going to lead to a riot on July 2021. That's what's going to happen. No, I don't believe that for one bit. I don't think this was heavily planned in advance. So I think that's what happened. Then there's claims of a WhatsApp group coming out that allegedly, well, I guess it's fact now. I don't have to say allegedly, but people that basically planned the entire thing a day before all hell broke loose. That's weird for me. A day before all hell broke loose, you mean to tell me you organized buses to take people there? You organized the targets. You organized everybody's little group and where they were going to attack. You organized everything in one day in one group. It sounds too good to be true, especially when some of these people they've interviewed are native South Africans, right? They've been in South Africa probably their whole lives. They don't know English that well, and some of these messages are well written in English, and that's okay, fine, maybe that's not something, but it does make you wonder, how convenient is it that you find this group that basically has all the answers and 12 people behind this, right? I don't know. To me, I'm questioning, like I said at the beginning of this thread, I'm questioning everything. Is it impossible? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. It is very probable, very possible that this group was made the day before, all these people got together, blah, 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 blah. Maybe it was planned before and then they made the group and then they expressed their plans on the group. That's a possibility, but it's just almost one of those things that are just too good to be true. And that's why I question this one. This feels like the ANC doing counterintelligence in order to control the narrative, because like I said earlier, Cyril's being made to look bad by the Zuma faction. So what does the team Cyril do? Well, let's try and create a fall people. Let's try and create and make it out to look like Zuma is the instigator. Zuma's the one. The team Zuma are the problem. I don't trust Cyril. I don't trust Sele, and I don't trust Cyril, obviously. I feel like he's playing sides, and I'm going to explain why in a moment. It feels like he's Littlefinger from Game of Thrones, and you can see the little gif I have there. He's just not as smart. Now, I actually ran out of thread, and I had to continue this thread on another thread. So, but we see here, Sele says he found ammo, and that the other side wants to go to war.
Firearms and all, but it tells us that there are people that are preparing for the war on the other side, not just looters.
When he speaks about the other side, he means the Zuma faction. And this is why I don't trust him. It feels like he's playing science. He had a meeting with Zuma. Now, again, I'm not saying that he planned all this, but remember, conversation about alliance. I feel like he's either playing signs or there's something else happening in play that I just can't figure out yet. And as we've seen, the propaganda machine starts to kick into full gear. I don't think there's a coup. There's enough evidence to support my theory on this. I'm going to get to an article in just a moment. As a matter of fact, I'll go to it now. This is a letter. It's in essay Socio-Economic Situation. We must seek an explanation for this week's events. This is written by Franz Cornier from IRR and Center for Risk Analysis. And in this article, there are a few things that I don't agree with him. However, I do agree with his sentiment that this was not planned, or it was not a coup or whatever, or even an attempted coup. Maybe an insurrection of sorts, but not a coup. Look, let's face it, guys. There's a few things that need to happen for a coup, all right? The army needs to be on your side, and the police need to be on your side, which is not happening. So an insurrection, maybe. Destabilization of the country, yes, absolutely, possible. But a coup, no. And the EFF are definitely not as smart as you give them credit to be, for those of you who think EFF are behind this. I mean, they got their asses handed to them at Brackenfell, which we all witnessed. A friend of mine, Kaketso, made the point of that also on this show. So when we were discussing that, so I don't think there's a coup at all. The one thing that I know for a fact is that when people say they've been planning this for years, the ANC, what I think they've been planning for years is the socialist communist agenda. We've heard the president at the beginning of this year thank South African Communist Party for being an integral part of the ANC policies.
This year also marks the centenary of the South African Communist Party. Since its formation in 1921, the Communist Party has been a dependable ally. The Communist Party has also played a critical role in the ideological development of the liberation movement.
This is something that even Natasha Matsone and Helen Zille have confirmed on this show. It should worry everybody. And that's the end goal. That's what they've been planning. That is what they've been planning for years. But what is happening right now is I think they did see maybe some kind of explosion or riot happening. And they've been waiting for it. They've been anxiously waiting for it. 27 years of a failure of state. Your SEOs are bankrupt. Your law enforcement doesn't work. Your healthcare is in the gutter. Education in the gutter. People are getting poorer. Infrastructure is falling apart. And now you have lockdowns where millions, if not thousands of people have lost their jobs, their livelihoods. Friends and family are dying from both the disease and also just from losing their livelihoods. People are on edge. This was powder keg waiting to happen. And that is something I do agree with Franz Cornier on his analysis of that. It was just the perfect situation for all this to happen. And I think the ANC was just hoping for it, not necessarily knowing when it was going to happen. And they had an idea of where they would want to go if this did happen. And now, in this clip, you hear Ramaphosa say that he would rather be seen as a weak president than tear the ANC apart.
And I said I would rather be seen as the weak president than to split the ANC. Because that is not my mission. My mission is to keep the ANC united.
Which is an interesting thing that he said. And I want you guys to remember that, because to me, this has, and I say this down here, this, in my opinion, is all about the elections. Because the ANC knows that they have lost a lot of support over the past year and even 2 years. And this is like a People's War 2.0. Factions or no factions, either way, whichever faction wins, the ANC is still in power. Now, there are some wild cards that you guys can take into consideration. What if this is KZN seceding from South Africa? That's a possibility. I'm not ruling that out. What if we are witnessing the fall of the ANC, only to be replaced by a new dawn party, but plot twist, it's a Trojan horse. So in other words, the party that is painted out to be the new dawn, oh look, a new party's coming in, South Africa's going to be different, is actually going to implement the same thing that the ANC wanted to implement, Trojan horse. And then the third thing is, a wild card, is Herman Mashaba. I'm not sure what to make of him. Herman Mashaba, if you ever watch this, I've invited you on my show. I want you to come on to my show. I want to have a conversation with you. But I don't trust you, and I don't trust any politicians. Don't take that personally. I don't trust any politician. But I still like to engage you guys and talk to you guys. It's fun. And I have respect for a lot of the politicians out there, except for Julius Malema and Cyril, and anyone in the ANC, and anyone in the AFF. But Herman Mashaba, like, suing Cyril and some of the ANC members is interesting to me. I don't know what to make of it. It could be part of the plan. It could be the Trojan horse. It could be, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it is all that part of the ploy to get Cyril out of power, and probably people in the cabinet will say vote of no confidence. I don't know. Now, a lot of people will speculate, well, if Cyril's going to be kicked out of power, then who's going to take his place? Well, there's NDZ. Ace Magashula could come back. Remember that cigarette thing, Mazati, Ace Magashule, NDZ, Juju. Just saying, these guys go way back. And now a meeting with Zuma and Tsele, a meeting with Zuma and Juju. You know, I'm just saying there's something there. Yeah, one thing is clear, that this is all about elections. It's nothing but elections. The ANCs know that they're weakening, and they're going to try and twist this as much as possible to make it look like they're coming in to save the day. And this is my prediction. ANC remains in power by a ball hair and uses the events of the past week to justify the start of radical transformation under the guise that it will fix the country and restore the country, which it won't. Poverty is the great equalizer, as said by Captain Pillay on this show as well. Now, again, I want to disclaim that this is just a thread with my analysis or tinfoil hat theories of what we are witnessing. I'm not saying that, everything is speculation at this point. Okay, I'm wearing the tinfoil hat, guys. Okay, but I will say this. I got some interesting replies, and Free Market Foundation put out this tweet earlier saying, while the economy crumbles, labor unions want to put even more pressure on taxpayer and introduce a basic income grant. No, we need a free market. We need employment. No more welfare. Now, the basic income grant is a very communist socialist agenda that they're trying to push. And we're seeing more people talking about that now. Again, ANC coming in and saying, okay, we'll give you that income grant that you want so badly. We'll give it to you. We'll give it to you. We'll save South Africa, So again, going back to that, this is what they want. This is how they're going to twist it. And I really think that that's basically what is going to happen.